Welcome to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. I'm Nadia Shana Kraus, author of From Dreaming to Done and founder of Soul Health Mentor and Company. Here we bring the human and the soul together. We talk about finishing the dream your soul has never let go of through embodiment, clarity, and wholeness, because we are souls having a human experience, not in exchange for, but in inclusion of. This is the Soul Health Mentor way. Hello and welcome back to Soul Health Mentor Podcast. Today I have the pleasure and delight to be talking to Heather Coleman. She's a financial wellness geek, and the author of Our Money Narrative, The Things We Don't Talk About. I cannot wait to talk to you, Heather. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we had already talked a little bit before we started recording, and we were bouncing around with ideas. What are we going to talk about? And we kind of settled on talking about money and creativity, and I'm really, really excited about that. So, how did you come to write a book called Our Money Narrative: The Things We Don't Talk About?
Great question. And it's actually it's a funny story because I actually didn't intend ever to write this book. I actually had a second book that I was working on and writing for a whole other reason. Um, but I worked for a financial literacy company where I ran the division that offered financial literacy as an employee benefit. And I was doing my MBA, and I wanted to validate the work we were doing to actually make sure it was meaningful and having impact. So I wrote a paper on it, did a whole bunch of research on it. And the day that I graduated my MBA and presented my final paper and all that, the TEDx applications literally opened that day. And part of my goal for myself was to do a TED Talk. And so I was like, what are the odds that as soon as I submitted it, done, closed, this application came up? So to me, it was one of those divine signs that, okay, you go and you do this. You do the thing, you do the list, you apply. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. Lucky enough, I was selected as one of the six speakers. And our publisher happened to be in the audience that day at my TED Talk. And funny story, Samantha grew up with one of my sisters, went to elementary school and high school. And so Samantha didn't put two and two together. She's like, wait a second, you're Coleman. You're one of the Coleman girls. I'm like, yep, I'm the baby. I'm the youngest. And she's like, you need to write a book on your TED Talk. She's like, the way you talk about money is so different than the way anybody else does. And at first I was like, oh, I do this for a living. I don't know. I teach it, I train it, I did TEDx. And she's like, think about it. 4 months later, I wrote the book. Within 4 months, it was written, all done, ready to go, signed up. So that roundabout story, never intended to write this, but I loved it. I loved the experience, and it was, and now living through the stories to other people, where other people are saying their stories to me, and the impact, that's why I think I had to. Now looking back, that's the reason why I wrote it.
I love that. I love hearing the story behind the book and how it came about. And I always love how sometimes creativity finds its way, like creative life force energy. Like you didn't plan this, but someone heard you
No.
and said, "Oh my goodness, I love how you talk about money. You need to write a book." And then this creativity happened and you wrote the book, and now we get to talk about the stories that we usually don't talk about. And something that I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a financial wellness geek, and I did have this desire at several points in my life where I was like, I wish my parents could have given me financial literacy. I wish my parents could have given me financial wellness, could have taught me that I can be creative, but I also need to figure out how to pay the bills. So, to the younger version of me, what story would you tell me? Or what advice would you give me?
Oh, I love this one because, I think this is part of when I started writing the book. I was trying to say, like, what was my why? Why am I so drawn to financial wellness and that sort of stuff? And what did I do that carved my path any different than anybody else, right? And the truth is, I grew up in a pretty money tight household. Um, 4 kids, 3-bedroom home. Mom was the breadwinner, and it was my stepdad when I got my first job who started talking to me about money and would make me bring home my paycheck and give him half of it. And so I relate that story to what you're talking about, what I would say to your younger self. It does take someone to talk to you about money and some positive things and getting you to think about it differently. Because unfortunately, we're in a place where we're not taught in school. We're not taught in our community naturally to talk about money. And that's why the things we don't talk about is subtitled my book. Because unless you have that person or that safe place that makes it a priority in conversations to teach you a couple of things, let you like flunder a little bit, make mistakes, you're really not going to learn.
Mm.
And it really has to be intentional. So what I always say to the younger people, and I think it was funny when I was at Indigo doing my book signing, I had two 14-year-old girls that were like, "Oh my God, we love money. We're more important. Is this for me?" And I was like, you know what? I actually think I think it's too far. I'm like, let's go fundamentals. Here's my card. I'll hook you up with what you need to know. And I'm like, but budgeting, budgeting, budgeting is your number one. Understand what you have coming in and understand what needs to go out. It's as simple as that to start with. And learning those puzzle pieces, understanding that you can balance the need to live, like I need to eat, I need a roof over my head, I need to get around, however that looks transportation wise. Like those core things, you need to pay for them. Like there is no, you can't get around it. Maybe some people grow up with more opportunities in their household, or mom and dad can help with that sort of stuff, but the average person, not so much, right? So once you start understanding that you need to cover those core basic things first, then you can budget for fun. Then you can budget for creativity. Then you can budget for the things that you really want to do. But you need to live and you need to fund it. And in order to fund it and do this part well, your creative side well, you need to at least be able to put a roof over your head or at least be able to eat or do those core fundamental things. And it's funny, and people say, well, why is it called financial wellness? Because we take care of all these other parts of our wellness and we talk about that so openly, but we don't talk about the money aspect of it and the impact that it has. And so that's why I really love that's what people call it now. It's like, oh, I care about financial wellness. Because yeah, it is. It actually, without being financially well, you're not able to do everything else that you love.
I love that. Yes, I love the term financial wellness. And I totally agree that as a 14-year-old, oh my goodness, you soak it up. You soak it up and you have
Look it
so
up.
much energy, right? You have so much energy and you can do a whole bunch of jobs. But if someone teaches you to save money or to budget and to have a dream, that's okay. And then also to think
Yeah.
about how am I going to fund the dream? How am I going to take care of myself, that I'm well, that I'm taken care of, and how am I going to step by step fund my dream? And I do believe in the and, in the bridge. I don't believe in the either or. So the tricky
I
part
agree.
about our society is that when I retire, I will do this. It's always procrastinated. So the dream also gets procrastinated because once I have time, I will write the book. Once my children are grown up, I will do this. And I believe in the and. I believe in the present moment and thinking about what do I need now for the living and the creativity. So we're speaking the same language, and I really love that.
And you're resonating with me so much right now. And I talk about that concept of we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's what we choose to do with those 24 hours that matter. And I am not a big proponent that the 9 to 5 lifestyle, sticking with a career is always actually the best path for you financially. And, some people strive and do better with like a whole bunch of side gig hustles and do to mix it up because sitting in one desk in one spot is not for them.
Mm,
Whatever works for you in your 24 hours, there is a certain price tag you need to fund that lifestyle. That's it. It's fundamental. How you decide to make it is ultimately up to you. Maybe skill set, maybe education or whatever will support you in making more or less. Um, but what it really fundamentally comes down to is you have a price you need to live. And if creativity is where ultimately you want to make your money and do that, that's fine. You can get there, but you might not be there right away. And it's that path to success. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think we live in a bit of a society where we want it all now. I want to make the 6 figures doing what I love and not even having to worry about this stuff. Yeah, don't we all? I would love to get paid to talk all day, every day, and just shoot the shit with people. But you know what? I got bills to pay. I've got 2 mouths to feed. That's not going to happen. So I do have a 9 to 5, which I love to do. But I get to feel my creativity in other ways.
yes, yes. I really love the dance we're dancing. I totally agree that you don't get there overnight, and you can make a plan, and you can get there step by step by step. And right now, I am really noticing that the from dreaming to done is exactly that. It's the dream, the vision, and then you're literally trailblazing a new path because it didn't exist before. It didn't exist before, and nobody can actually tell you how to get there. So now I would love to do a little experiment with you, and I'm going to be the guinea
Let's
pig.
do it.
So I
Okay.
am new to Ottawa, right? And I've
Hmm.
lived in a lot of places, and my life has been Germany, South Africa, Germany, United States, Ottawa. And I turned 50 in July, and I'm done.
Happy 50th.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not done living, but I'm done with moving.
No. Yes.
And I,
Ottawa's your home base for a while.
yeah, and I am claiming Ottawa as my home. I'm literally saying that. That's why I'm what I meant with like I'm done in the sense of moving because, and this is something you will be able to relate to now in the sense of financial wellness, there's also such a thing as accumulative wealth. And if you keep moving, you keep disrupting the accumulation. So I need to disrupt that pattern. So me, I'm giving giving myself as a guinea pig in a sense. If I come to you, I would now say, okay, I want to build a business in Ottawa that's also a livelihood. It's not just a job. I created 4 businesses that felt like jobs. They didn't feel like companies that can actually carry me. And
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't go from zero to hero. I can't go from zero to 6 figures as much as I want to. And
Yeah.
I am totally okay with getting a part-time job because that gives me stability, right? And then building the dream step by step, action by action. Where would you start with me first? What would you do with me first?
Oh, I like this. So again, it really comes down, Nadia, to saying, okay, what do you need to survive? What's that baseline amount of money you need to keep your roof over your head, food in your mouth, money that's literally going to cover the in between stuff? Because sometimes life throws us curveballs that we can't, you know, prepare for. And that usually comes with a price tag. So once we have that core piece set aside to say, you know what, you need, let's say, $4,000 a month minimum coming in to fuel this. That's what your part-time job is, right? You don't need your part-time job to cover anything above and beyond that. If you loved your part-time job, great, do it. Work extra hours, do whatever. But in this case, that is not what thrives you. So you want enough to come in to cover the what has to cover with giving you a little bit of breathing room. Now, the other side of me is saying, okay, what does retirement look like? What, like, do we want to start thinking about that here? Or are you hoping that retirement's going to come with this passion, this creativity, and that's the goal? So there's sometimes some risk and reward that we have to take. And if I were coming at it a business lens, I'd be like, okay, what's the return on investment of this potential business you're thinking about? Now, that for a creative person will drive you nuts because you're like, it's not about what I make, it's about what I do. Okay, so if that's the case and you don't care that it ever brings you money in the future, then you might want to put a little bit extra on this part-time job aside to say, okay, at least I'm funding a plan B for retirement, right? And I think we're faulty not to prepare for that and just put a little bit extra away if we can to cover that because it comes sooner than we think. And if we don't give it any seeds whatsoever, well, that money over here that you're creating in your building that comes with that gift, you know what? Then you can start saying goodbye to your part-time job, but at least you have a little bit of a nest egg saved up for just in case. Because you know what? It's funny. I had this conversation with Samantha, our publisher, about we do the things that we love, but we still have to keep this balance, this safety net. But at some point, you can let that safety net go. And so that's the part that I want, thinking about your example. As soon as your safety net starts covering, or sorry, yeah, your dream starts covering what the safety net's bringing in, boom, you can cut it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You
Hmm.
really can.
Absolutely. So I would answer, totally understand. I would make the calculations. What is it? What is the minimum I need? And then I would go and find the part-time job that I have enough time to still have workshops to do the things
Yes.
that I want to do to develop the programs and services that I want to offer as Soul Health Mentor and Company. And then my first focus would be, yes, retirement is important, I understand,
Yeah.
and a home is also important. And so I would focus on home buying because the
Yeah.
business is something that brings this is how I want to build it. That's why I said that I don't want to build a job. I've done that 4 times. I've had 4 businesses and they just ended up being jobs without the benefit of a job, without the benefit of a regular paycheck. But it
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was sustaining me. So this time the how do I say, the intention is to build something that is sustainable, that's maybe scalable, that is a company, not
Yeah.
just a job. And then the company itself, I really admire women in their 70s and in their 80s, like Jane Fonda, still actively, passionately working on something. Louisa Hay, actively and
Yeah.
passionately working on something. So I'm not someone that has that retirement mindset where I'm like, at 70, I want to retire. I actually want to create my business and company as joy in motion, right? Giving back. So the first focus would be house or home, and then it would be, yes, let's learn how to put money away. Let's learn how to invest. So we would walk this path step by step, right?
Yeah, and that's honestly, you can't have it all. And that's the part that I am very mindful with people when it comes to money. Yes, we want the car, we want the house, we want the trip, we want whatever. You know what? That has a price tag. And so as soon as you break it down to I'm going to a store, I'm going to buy this thing off the shelf, we intuitively know I can't afford those Louis Vuitton shoes or this. Like, I'm going to go to Payless and I'm going to buy the cheaper knockoff version because that's in my price range. If we take that mentality to our dreams and recognize, you know what, my dreams have a price tag and I'm going to sacrifice everything I possibly can to get it. Cool, that's fine. But you're also going to take care of yourself and you're going to live. Because if you are under financial stress and you don't have enough for the bare minimum for your lifestyle to live, are you going to be well enough to put in the extra hours, the dedication, the extra grit that it's going to take to build up this to let it thrive? No, you won't.
No.
You're going to be burnt out. You're going to be stressed out. You're not going to be taking care of yourself. And that's not okay. Now, when it comes to that whole entrepreneurial mindset, there is sometimes you need to take a risk. And for people jumping headfirst into a business when you have nothing set up in the background, that can be dangerous. And so I try when I'm talking to people, especially women, I never want you to shortchange yourself in not taking the risk and going after that business, but I do want you to protect yourselves.
Hmm.
And I don't want you to be house poor in a position where you feel like you can't take care of yourself because you jumped over a dream without being strategic.
Yeah.
And you can be really strategic with money. And the best part when you start to build a business, there's benefits that come with that. You get to write off your mortgage interest if you're working from home. There's like a lot of cool things you get to do with money to help you work on your business that you wouldn't get to do with a 9 to 5. And I love that sort of stuff and coaching women in particular. Like, here's how you structure your business. Here, if you're a sole proprietor, did you know that you can do this versus this and take home a little bit more? There's so many cool things you can do with that. Um, but not being strategic or mindful or having those conversations or preparing or planning, that is where the financial stress comes in.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate that you said it's marrying strategy with the dream. And that's what I really,
Right.
really appreciating. Marrying strategy with the dream. I grew up with parents that were very positive in the sense of they were going through a phase of reading self-help books and positive thinking and the potential you have and living the best life. However, they didn't have strategy, they didn't have groundedness, they didn't have security, stability. So it's almost like they were trying to build a castle on sand. You can't.
Yeah.
And it took me turning 50 to process all those stories, all those things we don't talk about, all those things that I grew up with that I didn't even understand, to come to this place of, okay, starting again at 50, building this dream and the fifth business, right? This time it's going to be me marrying strategy with the dream and finding the path and building something with longevity in the sense where I see myself, if I'm vital and alive, taking care of myself and my body, why wouldn't I work at 80? Why wouldn't I? If I can inspire at
Why
80,
not?
right? And this is
Um,
amazing.
Funny enough, when I did my TED Talk, there was Helen Spence Hirsch, who was one of the speakers, and she talks about the longevity mindset. And what I loved about her story and her talk was the biggest opportunity right now for our economy are people over 60 to work part-time.
Really?
And there's such a pool of untapped resources to help with, strategic thinking and that sort of stuff. Because let me tell you, they're not fresh off the boat, like in regards to like, I don't know what I'm doing. Welcome here. No, they've got careers and experience and all this sort of stuff that really it's not like a sitting duck that has no idea where they're going and it's years of experience, years of creativity, years of all the stuff that's untapped. So I agree with you. I think the whole Freedom 55 thing, now, mind you, my partner and I would love to not have to work at 55, but we both know that I love working. I'm a busybody. I like to stay busy and I love doing what I'm doing. So I don't see that in the cards for me. He would love to retire tomorrow, but financially, that's not a smart move for us. But those are realistic things that if you love what you're doing, why would you retire? I work in medical education as well, and I would say most physicians don't actually ever fully retire. They're like, oh, well, my practice has gone to point 0.25 of what it used to be. And I'm like, well, are you retired? No, why would I? I love what I do. I love helping people. I love doing whatever. So I think retirement can mean different things for different people. And to your point, if you're doing something that you love and you're creative and it's bringing you joy and it doesn't feel like work, why would you not continue that?
I love something you said earlier. You said, make sure you're taking care of yourself so you're not stressed because when you're stressed, you can't build anything. So that's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining building strategically to really make sure that I'm stable, secure in my needs, and then building from that place of joy and connection and building something and creating spaces where the people that visit those spaces feel more than they felt before, like more nourished, more abundant, more illuminated, whatever
Yeah.
it may be. And the part where if I'm taking care of the money strategically, then it's also very different to work at 80 when you don't have to work because you've taken care of your finances, but you're
Yeah.
doing it because it's fulfillment. So that's the vision I have. And this is a long, it's a long game. It's a longevity game. And we've had an amazing conversation. There's been so many golden nuggets and sparks. What I wanted to close with is where can listeners find you when they want to learn more about getting with the financial wellness geek and getting some support?
I think a bird just hit the window. Just a good omen, I guess, on that one. It didn't get hurt. So, thank you. So, you and I had this conversation earlier. I am really picky choosy right now in what I'm deciding to do in my path forward. I'm being strategic in not taking on too much in the short term, but I'm always happy to, continue with. Sometimes I do some support and education in workplaces. Sometimes I we'll do one-on-one support, whether it's through divorce coaching or some money support. So you can always reach me at www.heathercoleman.ca, um, and connect through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I am always open. And what I love right now, and my hope through this journey in this book is um, making these conversations about money and being strategic or being financially well are more commonplace.
Good. And they can always purchase your book as well. It's like
They sure
the coach
can.
in the pocket or the coach in the handbag, right? Or
Yeah.
financial wellness geek. I love that. And the
Yes.
book is called Our Money Narrative, The Things We Don't Talk About and the Impacts on Our Financial Wellness. And that book can be found at Amazon and at Indigo.
Amazon, Indigo, yep. So you can access it through my website. So I'm always happy to, and I do have a workbook with it too. That was actually a request that came out because when people are going through, there's sometimes these little nuggets where I will ask you some reflection questions to be like, what about this? What was the household you grew up in? Did your parents talk about money? Did they fight about it? Did they avoid it? So once you start to pay attention to those things, oh my God, Nadia, it's just a gift, right? So having a little journal and a workbook to work through some of those things is really important. Because yeah, money is not something going away, right? Money is forever in our days. They're part of building strategic plans for your businesses, for your created lifestyle. It's just there. And so what I hope to do, and if people want access to it, is, have a safe place where you can talk about it honestly with yourself. And hopefully, carve a new path and a new strategy so that, to your point, on your fifth business, you're going to do it differently this time.
Yes, amen.
Well, and I'm here as a resource for you, so always
Yes.
happy to chat about that stuff.
I love that. Thank you so much for spending time on Soul Health Mentor. It was a joy. And I'm so glad we talked about the things that we don't usually talk about. And we are going to spread the message of talking about money. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Amen. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for being here. If something in this conversation stirred your body, whispered to your heart, or woke up a dream you've been carrying, that's not random, that's resonance. If you want to walk this path with me and join a community of grounded visionaries learning to finish what their soul began, download your Soul Map gift by visiting soulhealthmentor.com and clicking on the book icon. And if you loved this episode, share it with someone whose dream deserves to be finished, or write a review of your experience on Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music. Here we root and rise together, one completed dream at a time.